The celebration of Thanksgiving is behind us, although we may still have some post-Thanksgiving dieting to do. Black Friday has gone by, Cyber Monday, and yet there's an incessant holiday commercials that still plague us every day in the newspaper and the net, on TV, radio. And so our time and energy at this time of year naturally is focused on preparing for family gatherings, having preparations made for special meals, for shopping and gifts, and of course, for holiday decorating. All of this is part of the season. It keeps us busy. It keeps us running in many different kinds of directions. And there's only a danger in that in that activity, we might miss what's truly, truly important. Not intentionally, but it can happen. There's a young naval officer who is working his way up the chain of command in the Navy. And one day he was particularly pleased when the captain announced that the next morning this young officer would be in charge of launching the boat from the port. This was a big responsibility. And the young officer, wanting to go up in rank, took this job very seriously and wanted to do very well. So the next morning, he gave a number of rapid commands along the ship, and the decks were buzzing with activity. Sailors are running in all different directions. And soon, after all of this, the boat was making its way out of port. The officer was pleased with himself, pleased with his crew, and was quite sure that he had set a record for the most rapid departure from port. He was therefore not surprised when a seaman came up to him with a note of congratulations from the captain. He was, however, perplexed that the captain's note was not written, it was a radio message. It read, "Congratulations on your rapid departure from port. But in your speed, you forgot one important rule. Make sure the captain is on board before you get underway." One way that we could read the gospel today is to hear Jesus telling us, don't forget the captain. Stay awake. Stay awake to life, and stay awake to what really matters in your life. All this holiday activity and preparation can and might get in the way of our seeing what is really true value to us, what's really important. The ultimate goal of these weeks before Christmas should be to recognize the spiritual and personal dimensions of all that we do, to make sure we don't get caught up and leave the captain behind. We must make every attempt during this season to avoid leaving this captain behind. For example, what is the value of spending hours of preparation to call family and friends together if the activity of that preparation prevents us from appreciating the people that we seek to gather? What advantage is it to find perfect gifts for every person if the activity of finding that gift makes us irritable, grouchy, impatient, unhappy with the people we love, not to mention our wallet? What is the ultimate importance of checking off everything from our holiday list if such activity blinds us to the moment of grace that God will place in our lives? How can we be truly present to others in this season if we are constantly checking mobile devices and texting? Although we speak of Advent as this time of waiting for Christ's birth or his coming in eternal glory at the end of the world, the reality is that Christ is with us. He's with you. He's with your families. He's with the Word of God. He's with the Eucharist at the altar. And during this time, Christ continues to want for us to know his presence, his tenderness, his gift of reconciliation, his joy. But the success of the holiday will depend on our ability to recognize these moments and to take them in and to see the presence of Christ. How can we do this? Because I'm not condemning in any way all of that activity. It's part of the holiday season. And it's a wonderful thing in many, many ways. But we can get lost. We can leave the captain behind. And I found a beautiful little creation story that's told by the Cherokee Indians that might help us to focus on how we might do this. The story says that on the day after creation, when God had completed all of his creation, he called together the plants of creation, and he told them, stay awake for 7 days in celebration of the earth. Stay awake 7 days and celebrate the birth of the earth. With each passing day, more and more of the plants grew tired, and they fell asleep. On the seventh day, there were only 2 plants were still awake, the pine tree and the holly bush. So God blessed them, and he said to them, because you stayed awake, you will remain green forever. In the heart of winter, you will remain centennials of life. So to this day, the Cherokee Indians say that when winter comes, all the other plants lose their leaves and fall asleep. But the pine and holly bush stay awake. Maybe in the coming weeks of Advent, when we notice a pine tree or a holly bush standing green against the barren trees in the soon-to-fall snow, maybe that tree and bush will remind us to stay awake to the things that really matter. After all, the coming weeks are not about our task, but really it's about relationship, about the people in our lives. The upcoming weeks are not about what we will do, but really what will Christ do for us. Christ will indeed bless us with moments of grace. Those moments are what we must not miss. It is for those moments that we must stay awake. It should come as no surprise to us that the success of this season of Advent, as in every season, is that the presence of Christ is with us. Therefore, as this Advent season begins and we enter into it, be sure that Christ is on board before we get underway.